Alright guys, we're coming close to the end of our race season here in Idaho. I know I haven't done a whole lot with the Mustang, but we did do a few changes to it, and we're going to go out and we're going to test it tomorrow. We went ahead and added a couple things. I changed the manifold. We were having a problem with boost, not being able to control the boost. So added some CO2, a few things to the car to try to get control of it. So I was just going to show you what we had going on and let you know that tomorrow we're going to go out and test it and see if we can actually, we can break chassis cert, I'm pretty sure, but maybe on the last blast. Let's see, tomorrow is test and tune, and then we have at the end of the month race called the last blast, just before they shut down the track. Pretty much, a lot of people go out there for the all-out last little bit of, racing. So let's show you what I got going on. So we went ahead and we did 44 mil wastegates. They have a 5-pound spring in them. We are controlling the top of the gate. So yeah, so here's the lines coming in. We're controlling the top of the gate with our Fuel Tech boost controller. I wrote up and down. I'll probably be taking that off, but this solenoid controls the top of the gate pressure. This releases the top of the gate pressure, and then you kind of see it right here. This line goes to the bottom of the gates. So basically the CO2 is applying pressure to the top of the gate to try to control the boost, and then it'll dump the pressure as the as the boost starts coming up. It starts dumping the pressure, and then it'll add and try to keep the pressure right around 11 to 14 pounds. We're going to see at the track. We did a lot of changes, so basically it's kind of a whole new car. There's one other sensor I got to throw on the car, and that's a drive shaft speed sensor, and that'll actually help with the traction control on this car. So right now I did what I could afford to do, balling on a budget here, trying to get this thing done, working my ass off this summer, but just want to show you what else we did. I had this mounted up here, and this hose it wasn't able to actually pull, so I mounted it directly to the back. So now under acceleration it won't get an air pocket in this line, and it seems to work fine now. I do have all of my electronics and relays, fuse boxes, everything right here, because if I need to diagnose a problem, I want to be able to get to anything and everything. Wrote down what my fuses are here for this one, these fuses. So here's the CO2 bottle, and just so you know, if you order up a Motion Raceworks CO2 bottle, you either got to send it to your local gas, like a welding supply, whatever. You got to send it off to have it filled, or you have to buy a CO2 fill station. That's what I did. I went ahead and bought two CO2 fill stations, because this end is the same as the bottle that you fill from. So I needed 2 of these ends to actually get this bottle filled, so I made my own CO2 fill station. I'll show you real quick. Went and bought a bottle, about a couple $100. The CO2 fill stations on eBay were like 27 bucks a piece. I bought 2 of them, but as you can tell, here's my CO2 bottle, here's the fill station as it comes, and then I had to buy 2 of them because I needed this end, a double end. FYI, if you buy Motion Raceworks, you either got to figure out your own CO2 fill station, or maybe in your town or whatever, they might have something that'll work. I don't know. But that's what I had to do here. But yeah, so we got the CO2. So this is my pressure gauge for the CO2. Just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, I knew approximately what pressure that we were running to the top of the gates, because a Y is right here. This Y goes to the solenoid, this Y actually goes to the gates, and then as you can tell, my shifter is now going to be controlled by the CO2. So good to go there. And then just so you know, the nitrous bottle is only for stalling up the car. The motor doesn't build enough torque to really bring this car up on the stall converter. We'll eventually fix that. We'll get another stator for the Pro torque converter, but that dry nozzle right there, as you can see, that is just a little 100 shot that we are using to stall up the car. We don't actually use nitrous on this car down track because frankly it's too light and I'm kind of scared of it right now. Haven't gotten used to the car doesn't want to hook yet, and that's what we're trying to do is, you know, figure out how to make the car hook. That's kind of our goal now, is to add things to the car for the traction control to try to get the thing to hook on the X275 drag radials. Probably not going to be able to see it. I'll show you anyway. I have a dump valve for the transmission. So I think that the dump valve, I'm going to need to end up putting in a bigger bleeder, because right now with running it at 100% cycle and running it at 70% cycle, we're only getting about 100 RPM difference. So it'll stall up to 2400 RPM. I think we got it to at 70%. I might be wrong, but I know at 100% it only stalled up to 2600 RPM. So I'd imagine that if I were to open it up all the way, we could probably do a little bit better, but I'll show you that. It's a Rossler product. They built it for me, so here you go. So, that bad boy right there, that is the torque converter dump valve for the H8r. So we put on the torque converter dump valve, and it goes on the end of the transmission, and what it does is actually one of the charge lines to the cooler, which I believe comes out of the pump. It dumps that back into the back of the transmission so it doesn't charge the torque converter with all the pressure that it could. It's not the actual charge pressure to the torque converter, but I'd imagine, I mean, it helps. It was helping us a little bit, but then again, we do have a bleeder in there. So it dumps that pressure back into the back of the transmission. And the other thing that we did to the car was we went ahead and changed some of the suspension settings and stuff. So we're going to see how that works. So we'll see. This is just basically a preliminary video for the track tomorrow. Oh, no, one other thing. Forgot. So I put a wing on the car. I built that myself. I do heating and air conditioning, so we got a shop that I can bend all the tin. Just got the brackets. Here's my little brackets. And then I made a brace underneath the bumper, up underneath, to hold these things. So as you can tell, the bumper flexes quite a bit, but right there we have no flex. So the wing is good and mounted. Got two of them there. We'll see if that helps. Probably won't be a big help, but at least, you know, there's something on the car, and it does kind of look cool. So maybe it'll settle down the ass end from feeling so light top end. May not, you know, but it's just one of those things. The car is really light in the ass end on this car. So other than that, yeah, I mean, gates, dump valve. I mean, we did do a solid state relay on the progressive nitrous. We're calling it progressive nitrous because we're going to cycle that solenoid and you know, not spray a full 100 shot. We actually, right now, I think we got it sitting at a 50 shot. It's got a 100 shot jet in it, but we're not using all of it. So we're using the ECU through the solid state relay to pulse the nitrous. So far it seems to work, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, the wastegates, I'm hoping everything, we tested it yesterday on the lift, and everything worked out really well, surprisingly. I had one thing wired backwards because I was looking at the connector wrong, my fault, but yeah, so far so good. I just got to warm the car up, throw some trans fluid in it, because when we put the dump valve on the transmission, about a quart fell out, or, you know, poured out. So that's about it. So we're ready to rock and roll tomorrow, and I'll take you along for the ride. We'll see how it does. See how you know, one of the few 4G63 Foxbody Mustangs in the US does. So all right guys, see you tomorrow.